Today we are kicking off part one of a two-part home office makeover. That wall that you are looking at is about to be transformed in part one. I am taking on the modern board and batten design. It's been pretty popular on Pinterest and Instagram, so I decided I wanted to tackle it and kind of make it my own in the space. The rest of the room is going to be finished. The lighting is going, and you will see in this video, it's pretty evident that the lighting is horrible. The furniture will go, but we're gonna visit that in part two, where I decorate and make this space really cozy. I started off by sweeping the room, cleaning the room out. I wanted to make way for my workspace behind the futon and just have a really clean, organized, prepared space to kick off my project. I laid out my paint supplies. I used a rough roller because my walls are knocked down. The color I chose was Bear Marquee in Cinnamon Tea. Now, guys, let me be honest. On camera, this color does not look nearly the same as it does in person. On camera, it picks up a lot of these brownish, beigeish tones, where in person, it's really like this very muted, dusty rose and has beautiful boho flair, which is the look I'm going for in the room. I'm not gonna lie, deciding to go pink was a little intimidating for me because I knew that it could easily make the room just feel really juvenile. I wanted an earthy blush that would elevate the space in a soft and feminine way while still feeling very mature. The next morning, I grabbed my painter's tape and began to map out a rough draft of the pattern that I wanted to create. For me, this was the part where things started to come to life. I wasn't worried about perfect lines or even spacing. I really got to focus on just creating a foundation that would eventually evolve into my final product. Within the first 10 minutes, I had already completely changed my mind, which you will see in just a second. But honestly, I was okay with that. I already knew coming into this that my plan was to work in the room every day for at least a week. As I continued to solidify my vision, I could make tweaks throughout the day. Once I got to a point where I just couldn't wait to see the final product, I knew that I had reached my point of arrival. The next weekend, I handcuffed my better half and we knocked out sawing and nailing in one day. Honestly, I think it took us about maybe 5 to 6 hours in total, and we did have to stop at 2 different Home Depots within that time frame. Hey, we're in business. All right. We used a circular saw to cut all of the boards that would be starting in a corner at a 45-degree angle. Now, I do not know if that's the official way to do it. You may want to do a little bit more research and figure out what works best for you, but this was the easiest thing for me and it worked out just fine in the end. I used these 1x8x2s that were already sanded and primed. They are a little more pricey than other options, but they're the straightest and ended up only cost me about $40 total for 10 boards. There's an electrical outlet and a phone jack that I needed to work around. So I positioned my first board between the two in order to avoid having to make any special cuts with the saw. After I landed on exactly where they should go, I cut a flap off the top of a box that was just about the distance that I needed, and it instantly became my template. As we would nail one board and we were preparing to nail the second, I would put the top of the box in between the 2 boards and run it along from top to bottom to ensure that they were running parallel to each other. We used a brad nail gun with 2-inch nails to secure each piece. The boards are 1 inch thick, so we needed nails that were going to be long enough to hit the studs along the way. So it's about 9 o'clock at night and we have finished putting the design up. I'm not going to show you too much because I don't want to give away all my secrets. I took down all of the painter's tape. That stuff is expensive, so I am not wasting it. I need to paint the rest of the room, so I'm going to keep that and reuse it. I'm now going around to all of the little holes from the nail gun, and I am using my quick seal to go in and just kind of fill in the holes. You can see I did some of them already down here. You want to leave a little bit extra on so that you can sand it. So I'm going to go in and sand this once it dries. It takes about 40 minutes to dry. So I have to go through all of these. You can see some of the cuts weren't exactly perfect, and that's okay. I mean, you don't have to be perfect. This was our first time doing it. So I'm just going to go in and take some of the same putty and fill these holes in. Even here where we had to join two of them, I'm going to take the putty, fill it in, and then we'll sand it to make it look nice and smooth. Once everything's been sanded down and filled in, then I'll go and I'm going to paint the entire wall. After sanding, I use caulk to smooth the space where the boards and walls connect. This is really critical to make sure the end result looks clean and modern. And it was the last step that I took before I painted. Once the caulk dried, I painted and I was done. Stay tuned for part 2 where I style and design the room to complete this makeover. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, as well as turn your post notifications on so that you don't miss part 2 and all future Sweet 21 designs. Thanks for watching.